Hi, this is Dr. Jenny, and I thought I'd do a quick overview of the course. You're in a combined course of information technology, and essentially what we're going to talk about here is looking at some of the Web 2.0 and Web 3.0 apps, as well as looking at a few of the things, assignments, and so forth that you'll be doing. You'll also see here that we're picking a team based on business problems, and we'll be talking about that shortly. This course uses 4 textbooks, which are all free as ebooks. Essentially, you do not read all parts of the book. Like, the only one that you read quite a bit on is the Information Systems for Business and Beyond. The other textbooks you may read 1 to 4 chapters out of. So essentially, we're actually using textbooks that relate directly to the subject matter that we're working on. We are talking about information systems. Therefore, that means it's more than just software. It's the whole process. It includes your capital. It includes some other things as well. But you can kind of get the idea from looking at this that we're looking at a combination of hardware, software, infrastructure, personnel, and so on. And what we're trying to do is facilitate or plan, coordinate to help us make better decisions in our organizations. One of the things that's so important that we look at Web 2.0 and Web 3.0 is that we have a lot of free apps now that will help our organization do better. And as you can see here from this word cloud, the larger the word, the more it was mentioned in a particular article about technologies changing our culture. You'll notice the word share. You'll see the things like mobile and social, and those are all some ideas that kind of give you an idea that our culture has changed the way we do business. If we look at our syllabus, we run from August 7th through October 1st, which means there's no extra breathing space in this other than I've tried to leave you some extra time at the end of the course. So this is kind of what your assignment schedule summary looks like. You have a research skill assignment, which goes into the assignment section in your course. I've called it Dropbox. And then we have exploration discussions, and those go in the discussion board. You'll also see that you have a draft of the team or individual paper on the 18th of September, and that we have our final project presentation due on the 30th, with the tech plan, the written section due on the 1st. The 30th, it's not necessarily that it has to be in on the 30th. If you turn it in on the 30th by noon, I give you feedback. If you turn it in on October 1st, I guess I should say on the 30th, I give you feedback so you can make changes. On the 1st, when you turn it in, at that point, it's going to be actually graded. So I'm giving you a little help there if you would like to get some feedback on your presentation. This is a combined course, but I do want to show you that a lot of the outcomes that are in the program are very much the same. You'll notice up here in the very top where we're talking about the not-for-profit focus group or focus area, we talk about critically analyze, visionary financial leadership, maximize success in the mission. And if we look at the OL, we're still talking about critically analyze, visionary leadership, value collaboration, participation, creativity, and empowerment, and fulfilling the organization's mission. So a lot of what we see here is very much similar. So even though you're in a combined course, you will actually have some assignments that are somewhat different. Here we see the course outcomes. And essentially what we're trying to do is we're trying to look at if there's any Web 2.0 or Web 3.0 apps out there that may help our organization. Normally, a lot of these are free or very low cost. We're also going to be diving into the skill level of Excel and PowerPoint and Visio. There are other programs in the MSDNAA Alliance that you may be interested in, and I encourage you to go take a look at those. If you look at our going through our assignment here and just kind of getting an idea, you're going to see that it'll have like your read and absorb, where you're looking at reading through the chapters, And by the way, the book Information System for Business and Beyond, the entire book's 174 pages. So none of these are really what I'd call lengthy readings. So just to kind of give you an idea, so when you see that you're reading, 4 or 5 chapters or something, don't be too concerned, because they're not as long as you might think. And if you'll notice, it'll tell you it might have a shortened version of what the homework is. All the detail of the homework is in the content section. So you'll see week 1, assignment 1 is due August 14th. And if you recall, one of the things I mentioned is that the ticket sales assignment, although there is a deadline as of August 14th, that it can be redone and redone and redone until you get it correct. So I'm not as concerned about that deadline on that particular assignment as I am on any others. That's the one that, as I have expressed, that's the most difficult assignment, is the ticket sale one. If you'll see in, when you look at week 2 and you're looking at August 21, you're doing an exploration again, where you're looking at a Web 2.0 application. I do say I'd like you to use one that you've never tried. And again, in the content section, I give you some ideas of where you might go with that. And I do talk here a little bit about Wigio, which I'm going to try to demonstrate a little bit of that as we go. Just to give you an idea, I do have in the course overview, this is right out of the course overview. Under a look ahead, it talks about the technology project plan. There's examples in there from previous students. I'm going to be adding a few more of those as well from the group projects. So you can actually see what someone might have written as far as a technology project plan. When we get into week 3, you're going to notice that there are some differences between the NFP and the OL students. I don't think we have any financial leadership students in this cohort, but you'll see that there will be, even though both assignments relate to cloud computing, I have you reading articles related to the not-for-profit if you're in the not-for-profit focus, and if you're in the OL, I have you reading slightly different things. So even though they're both on cloud computing, you'll have some little bit different idea there. When we get into week 4, you're working with the annotated bibliography, and I do want you to notice that we kind of have a difference here, because I've given you a little gap. This September 7th is actually through the week assignment. It's not a Sunday night assignment, and that's because of Labor Day, just to kind of give you an idea. And this is when I was talking about the cloud computing. This kind of gives you an idea of the type of differences you might have. You're reading actually something different, and then you're basically exploring 2 technologies that relate to either efficiency, donation, fundraising, so on, and some of the same things for the OL students. So, and I actually have an extra thing to review. And for the NFP, I talk about the Chronicle of Philanthropy that might be a good thing to check out. And let's see. Of course, our webinar links are shown here. And the September 7th, 8th, or 9th will work for me. And the reason I've given you several dates there is I can try to work around your group schedule to actually have a webinar and talk about your project. So that's one reason why you see various dates, and I'll let you work with your group to see which of those dates and times work for you. Then as we go into the next assignment here with week 5, you're going to notice that everyone, whether you're OL or not-for-profit, are going to work with Change Magazine, which Change Magazine is a wonderful subscription, which is free, and there's lots of great case studies and information on how they've brought about change with technology and leadership. And of course, in this assignment, you see where I say demonstrate Visio using a Jing. You can do an org chart, a business flow chart, etc. Just so you know, if you're a Mac user, Visio is not available for the Mac, and you will need to use an alternative assignment of like Bubbles, .us, or there's some others that I've actually put in the content area that may help you with the you doing that assignment and still creating a visual diagram of some sort. Actually, even Word in a Mac has the flowcharting symbols, which you might be able to put something like that together. And then you'll see that you're putting in the draft of your paper, which is due on September 18th. When you get to the dashboard assignment, you're actually working a little bit with the Excel dashboard and report book and the data visualizations, where we talk about Power View, Power Map, and Power BI. The first assignment, you're doing a little mini dashboard and then a slicer that drives 3 charts. But you can actually learn a lot about what are the requirements for a good dashboard. Week 7 and 8, you're actually working on your presentation and your paper. So that's when you would want to be working with your groups. And this is just showing you some of the sections under the content area, and Wigio has been added to the collaboration, so you can see a little bit about Wigio in there. Wigio is really good for a group project. And of course, talking about Jing, which Jing is a little 5-minute jewel that does screencasting. You don't have to use Jing if you've got another screencasting software, but Jing is certainly, the price is right because it's free, and you can share anything on your screen. I'm actually working with the paid version of a similar product made by TechSmith, and with the same idea, except no 5-minute limitation. I do talk about tools for collaboration from Robin Good. It's an Italian that makes a living actually reviewing collaborative software, and I have this link on here. If you go to the PowerPoint, you can click that link. So when I'm asking you to do a collaboration software in the assignments, this would be a good place to look and see what's out there, because he already does a review of a lot of the softwares. This is the Wigio that I was talking about. Wigio is a great product for groups. You can set up a Wigio and add people to it with just email addresses, and as you can see, you have files you can put together. You can set up meetings, to-do lists. You can have polls. You can do messages. Wigio even gives you a conference call number that you can share. For those of you that want to create some kind of a discussion board at your work, discussion boards are really good when you're trying to do some good reflections, like if you have a diversity issue at your company or you want to get more communication. You can actually add Piazza with a closed group, and it creates a discussion group. So that's a possible potential Web 2.0, Web 3.0 product that you want to explore. Just keep in mind that the Web 2.0, one of the wonderful things about it is they're in charge of keeping things updated. One of the things not so good about it is because there are some risk associated with using Web 2.0 and Web 3.0 apps on a closed type network. So just so you're aware of that. And this is just a little bit of history that shows you the growth of the Web 2.0 to now what they consider Web 3.0. We have connects knowledge, connects intelligence, connects information, and connects people. So we have a grid here that kind of shows you across this some of the ways that you might consider Web 2.0 or Web 3.0. Just to give you a little fact about Facebook, I found this absolutely amazing that 1.65 billion daily active users, as this was from an article on April 17, 2016. And I also found it interesting. I've always been told that young people are not using Facebook because they consider too many of the old folks using it now. Evidently, that's not true, because you can see that 91% of 15 to 34-year-olds use Facebook. Another thing, just to kind of open your eyes to some of the things that are available out there, you can look at blogs on Twitter and instant message and Skype as part of your exploration. But I also want to point out that it's possible you may want to look at virtual worlds, especially not-for-profits are starting to do some things. What you see here is a virtual world that McDonald creates for their marketing personnel to go through and look through some of the pictures so that they can be using them for advertisements. Here's an example of a not-for-profit using Feed a Smile charity store I think this is pretty cool because you basically make a donation and you get a t-shirt for your avatar. I like that. And there's some new things that are out now that you may find interesting. For example, Eli Lilly does an incentive where they post a problem and anyone can take a shot at solving it and, of course, receiving compensation for that. And there's all kinds of e-lancing opportunities for that. And a lot of not-for-profits now are using some of the crowdsourcing type connections to solve creating logos or flyers and so on. And of course, I just want to point this out that it's a good reference, and that's the TED Talks. So make sure that you consider TED Talks in some cases when you're looking on, especially if you're doing some research that relates to like strategic problem solving, things like that. There's some good things in the TED Talk area. Google Apps is something, there's a lot of Google opportunities for not-for-profit. They actually have a grant for Google Ad buzzwords that you can use. They have YouTube for not-for-profits that's available, and then they have separate Google apps for nonprofits. So if you have a nonprofit, you definitely need to look at all the things Google Apps has to offer. And just so you know, here's a few more things that we have here as far as Web 2.0. Some of these you know, Flickr, social bookmarking, possibly you know. So some of these you're already aware of, but you know, that is a way to enhance cooperation with Web 2.0 is through some of these web apps. And then some of these Google Web Services. For example, one thing that you can integrate in a not-for-profit, if you do some kind of delivery or you have to you're a case manager and you have to go on the road, is you can actually incorporate Google Maps so people are able to find where they're going. You can actually set this up even in your accounting software for your customers. All kinds of things that you can do where you can insert the Google Map application directly into your other applications. And this, we only have a few more to go. But in this one is WooFoo Online, and you can go to the demo of WooFoo and basically be able to create a 10 question survey. For those of you that do questions or survey for your final thesis, I actually have access to a WooFoo account, and we'll share that with you so you don't have that 10 question limitation. And then this talks about the presentation. Please disregard the 1 to 4 is 25 minutes and the 5 is 30 because we now have 16 people or so in the class, or maybe 15. I'm not sure yet. So it is possible that we may need to reduce the amount of time. And this talks a little bit about the paper. This is also listed in the content section. So I think you should be able to go back to that and look at it. The rubric does the same kind of thing, so I think you'll be okay. And then just to show you some of the things that we can do in Visio, these are called swim lanes. And you can actually use people icons and things like that for part of it if you're trying to explain an issue. You also have a great cause and effect diagram. This is a Ishikawa. I've drawn it as a fish, but you can do it lots of different ways. And this is where we go back to our technology and we work through our spreadsheet. And just so you know it, one of the models that I teach you in this class is the element of thought model. Essentially, it is a good model to help you make sure that you haven't forgotten to include anything. So this is a picture of the model that shows your kind of the wheel around how you might work on a project. And with that, I will stop.